Hi guys, it's Lauren. Welcome back to my channel. Today I decided to do an in-depth foundation routine and how to not get like cakey foundation. And I know a lot of people have been doing videos like this, but I haven't watched any, so I don't know what they said. Hopefully I'm giving different advice so you guys can try different things and see what works for you. And if I'm giving the same advice, then you know it probably works because more than one person does it. So other than that, keep watching. Okay, so I've already done part of my eye look and that's for a different video. So if you want to see how I do this and how it looks at the end, I'll put a link in the description to that video down below. It's not done yet, but it's almost there. It's time to do my face though, and so I wanted to talk about how to make your foundation look as smooth as possible and as not cakey as possible. The first thing I do before I do my makeup is cleanse or exfoliate my face. You really should only exfoliate your face like once or twice a week, so you don't have to do this every time you do your makeup. But if you're going to an event or you want it to look like especially good that day, you should exfoliate. You should like save that day for a day for you to exfoliate that week, and exfoliate in the morning before you do your makeup. And you should also like, I don't know if a lot of people do this, but I find that it makes my makeup look a lot smoother if you like shave your face, because I mean everybody has at least a little peach fuzz and your foundation like clings to those little hairs, so it makes it look more textured and like stuff like that. So I shave the peach fuzz off my face and exfoliate. I already washed my face in the shower this morning, which was like an hour ago, so I'm not gonna do it again, but that's the first thing I do. And then right after that I moisturize, which I also did today. And so now that I have washed my face and moisturized it, you want to wait at least like 5 minutes for your moisturizer to like dry and like set in before you do anything else. So I did that like an hour ago, so I should be good. But yeah, I think it's really important, like you can use whatever foundation you have or apply it however people say to apply it, and it's not going to look good if you don't take care of your skin. So the first step is always good skincare before you do anything with your makeup to make it look better. So yeah, you just want to make sure you're washing your face and moisturizing it and stuff like that. So I already did those 2 steps, and the next thing you want to do to make your foundation look really good is a primer. And so I usually use this primer anyway, but I'm kind of not at home right now, so I brought this sample of it to use today, and it's the Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer. So if you really have super textured skin, you should use a primer that's like silicone based or has like the blur effect or something, and it'll really help your makeup look like smooth and not textured. So I'm pretty sure this one's silicone based. I could be wrong, so if I am, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure it is. So I'm just gonna apply this to my face now. You also always want to make sure you're washing your brushes, because your makeup will just apply smoother and be cleaner if it's not like using a brush that has old crusty makeup like caked onto it. So you want to make sure you wash them pretty regularly. And then I'm just going to take this buffing brush and I'm going to press the primer into my skin so that it kind of like sinks in and becomes part of my skin rather than sitting on top. Okay, so next is to actually apply the foundation, which first I'm going to use it to carve out the top of my brows. I didn't do that earlier. I carved out the bottom when I did my eyes, but I didn't carve out the top because I wanted to like apply the primer and everything first. So first I'm going to take my concealer brush and I'm just going to take a little bit of the foundation and carve out the top of my brows. Then I'm going to apply my foundation to the rest of my face, and you want to use a damp beauty blender. And I don't really get the silicone sponge or the using things instead of sponges because you don't want the foundation to soak into the sponge. But to me, like the sponge effect is really what helps it like pack in and blend into your skin, like I said earlier. And if you use something that's like a solid, it'll just kind of spread it around and make it sit on top of your skin. So I like to use a actual sponge to help it actually press into my skin, and the dampness really helps it blend out and do that. When it's dry, it kind of tends to also sit more on top, so you want it to be damp. And then you just want to dab it into your skin. You don't want to swipe it or anything, you just want to press it in like this. Another thing is, if you want to have a full coverage, you want to get a full coverage foundation. I'm not really like a firm believer in foundations that people say like, oh, it's a sheer coverage, but it's really buildable, so if you want a heavier coverage one day, you can just like add more. If you sometimes want a sheer coverage and you sometimes want a full coverage, I would recommend just getting a sheer coverage foundation and a full coverage foundation. Because if you're using a sheer coverage foundation and building it up to become full coverage, you're gonna have to use like several layers and it's gonna look cakey. Whereas if you use a full coverage foundation, you only have to use one layer, so it'll look more smooth and natural. Yeah, that's just my opinion. I mean, the only time I swipe the Beauty Blender is when I'm going down my neck, because otherwise it just takes too long, to be honest. You want to try and avoid your under eye area if you're going to be using an under eye concealer, because putting foundation all underneath that and then adding a layer of concealer will make it look cakey, how I said before, with like several layers of something. So you want to make sure you try and keep the under eye area clean. Okay, so I just re-dampened my Beauty Blender because it was getting a little bit dry. And I'm going to take my concealer and I'm just going to put a few swipes under here. You don't need like an entire triangle covering half your face, but yeah, a little goes a long way. I do probably put on more than some people, but okay, and then I'm just gonna put one swipe down my nose. And I know I just said you don't need to do a layer of foundation and a layer of concealer, but I didn't want to leave a patch on my nose, and also my nose is kind of oilier, so it kind of rubs off during the day, so it's okay to have a little bit of extra coverage there for me personally. Then I'm going to take the pointier end of my damp Beauty Blender and I'm going to dab in the concealer, and I'm really going to try and blend it into my skin so it all becomes like one thing. Then with the same damp Beauty Blender, you want to, I'm using the Laura Mercier Loose Translucent Setting Powder, and you want to pack that into your under eye like that. Then you want to continue using the damp Beauty Blender to pack the translucent powder into the rest of your face. I don't like using a brush for this or a dry anything because, again, like I said before, it really helps press it in and melts everything together, and so it just looks smoother to me rather than using a brush. It kind of sits on top and then your face looks powdery, whereas this kind of just helps mattify everything and set it for the day. And I don't really like to bake. I know a lot of people bake, especially like their under eyes and stuff. I will put a little bit more powder under my eyes and like in places like here that tend to get like greasy or like crack or anything, but I don't really think baking is necessary. Once I have it everywhere, I kind of just brush everything off. I don't like to put way too much like super thick under my eyes or like have it sit there for 10 minutes because I just think it, especially like with flash, like the flashback is really bad, and I don't really think it's necessary. I think my concealer's already lighter, and like as long as it's set, like that'll do the trick, you know? So I just like to press in the powder as much as possible. And I try to get everywhere, but like just in case there's some spots I miss, I do take a brush at the end, but I put very, very, very little powder on it just so I can make sure every part is hit and I can blend it and like brush away any of the excess powder. Okay, so that's it for my foundation routine and how I make it all smooth and natural looking. But I'm gonna finish my face for you, like do highlighter and blush and everything like that. So yeah, first I'm gonna take this cream highlighter stick. It's from a company called Flower. I've never heard of it other than this, and I got it at like Walmart or something, but I love it. And it was really cheap. And so I'm just gonna take it and I'm gonna put it on my cheekbones. It's a really nice base for other highlighters so that you can only have to put a little bit. Then I'm just gonna take this and blend it in. Next I'm going to take the NARS Blush Super Orgasm. Then I'm just gonna take the shade Summer from the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sun Dipped Glow Kit palette, and I'm going to add that to my cheekbones and everywhere else that I highlighted earlier. One last thing you can also do to make sure your foundation looks nice and smooth is to do a finishing spray afterwards, and it really just melts everything together and blends it and makes it look nice and fresh. I didn't bring mine with me today, so I didn't use it, but other than that, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe so you can see all my new videos every Friday. Thanks.